Hello and welcome. This is going to be a multi-part series of schools, probably going to be 5 parts, and they're going to be a little bit shorter than the last, on the targeted search classes that I put together. These will probably be 15 minutes or less on each one of them. Some of them will be less than 10. And what I want to go over is, as you all know, we've recently made an update and a change to where the number one cross-lay 1 3/4 is going to be a dedicated smoothbore line. We're also probably going to switch, or in fact, we are going to switch. The cross lays, the 2.5-inch cross lays, are also going to be a dedicated smoothbore line. And I want to give explanation on why that is, because it's not just an arbitrary thing. The theme of what I want to try to convey to you through these videos is that we want to give best practices the best chance. There's multiple reasons, and I'm going to go over all those in detail. And something that's also a little bit different about these sets of videos that I'm going to be putting together is I've enlisted the help of Brian Brush. Brian has over 20 years of experience in the fire service. He started out in California, and he spent 13 years with the West Metro Department just outside of Denver. In 2015, he and his family moved back here to Oklahoma, and he's been with the Edmond Fire Department since 2015, and he's now a training officer. Brush is an instructor that's nationally known and well sought after. He's been part of multiple nozzle and hose studies. He is a constant or a recurring instructor for fire engineering training minutes, also Elkhart's brass tacks and hard facts. But more importantly, Brian has an excellent way of communicating these types of, taking technical information and making it where it's easily understood. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope it's beneficial to you. Why do I prefer a smoothbore nozzle for structure fires? Like most of you, I was raised, per se, with fog nozzles. That's all we had whenever I came on the job, and that's what we used. Started off with the IFSTA versions that indicated using a 30-degree power cone and an indirect attack. Well, through the years, as that's evolved and as that's changed, we were using nozzles primarily on straight stream. Then we switched to the constant gallonage nozzles, and we started seeing some really good results out of that. Well, as I started teaching more and more and learning different ways of fighting fire and the pros and cons of the different pieces of equipment, that's where I was introduced to the smoothbore nozzle. And like many of you, I was apprehensive about it because it just seemed like it didn't do anything. I didn't have the options that came with the fog nozzle. So I've learned that there's many advantages to it, and one of them is its simplicity. The smoothbore nozzle won't be knocked out of pattern, even if you do a good job of checking your pressure and your stream pattern before you go in. If you make a push down a hallway or you bump into things, there's a chance that you could knock that out of the pattern that you want it to be in. So I appreciate the fact that it's always on the right stream.
I think that's a really good point there. I mean, if you did start off your career in the 90s, you definitely learned the power cone and those types of things, and we at that time appreciated the nozzle for those options. But more and more and more, and I think you'll hear in a lot of the trainings, you'll hear a lot of the videos, you'll hear a lot of the information coming out that for interior firefighting, it's straight or solid stream. So those options become variables. And if we're driving home the point that the stream needs to be straight or solid, and we're very deliberate with that, well then we don't want there to be variables. We want there to be constants. And the smoothbore is that constant. It will always be solid or straight unless we're at half bail, and we don't want to be operating at half bail because that's not full flow, at least in our fire attack time. So it is very simple. Open is solid, and it is full flow.
Yeah. The other, and it's a joke, it's not a very good joke, but it makes more sense to use a smoothbore nozzle in the fact that we can use more of our senses to gauge what is going on with the stream. One of the parts that I came to appreciate is I can tell the difference. If I'm the officer that's working behind the nozzle person, I can tell by listening if that hose stream is open all the way or if it's half bail. I'm going to show a video here just a little bit that's going to depict or going to give an example of the difference of the sound as well as the stream quality of whenever the smoothbore nozzle is half open versus fully open. And then we're going to show a video with a fog nozzle, and you're going to be able to tell from sight and sound and feel that you get more information from the smoothbore nozzle. It'll let you know if there's too much pressure, too little pressure, if there's kinks in the line and whatnot. The other thing I like about the smoothbore nozzle is that it has superior penetration through the heat. Fog nozzle, by its design, purposely breaks the stream up into small droplets. In fact, that was one of the terms with tiny droplets that was taught for years, and even in articles and books and whatnot. So it travels better through the heat. The old adage of when we get behind the station and we show a fog nozzle next to a smoothbore nozzle and say, well, look, they have the same reach. That's deceptive because that's at room temperature. That's not the environment in which the tool is going to be operated in. That environment is going to be hot, and so we need that water to remain in its liquid state until we want it to do what we want it to do. So I appreciate the heat penetration of the smoothbore nozzle versus the fog nozzle. Do you have anything you want to?
Yeah, you know, I think again, you're talking about stream reach and quality, and that will really be highlighted when we start talking about water mapping. And again, people might think that it's a fire nerd term, and it certainly is, but we thought that a flow path about 3 years ago, and it has very much taken hold as a common language across the fire service. So, you know, I think we've all been to the flammable liquids and gas classes, and we've learned about the protection of the fog, the wide fog. But when we go to wide fog, we are up close and personal with those valves. You know, that wide fog backs up our reach. So again, as we back off of that straight stream, we start to back up our reach of the stream. So as that gets bumped inside, we are backing up. We're bringing that fire closer to us. And when you are in that smoothbore, that straight all the way pattern, the joke is we want to maintain a long distance relationship with fire. We don't want to be up close and personal with flashovers and those types of things. We want to send our high caliber stream downrange to provide that coverage as we're moving in. And that's you know, when we talk about the line of sight operation of a nozzle, and we start to talk about these studies in a little bit more detail, it's best to send that high caliber round downrange and not have it broken up and scattered in like a shotgun blast as we're working down that.
The next thing and I think it's important where we live in Oklahoma, is straight or smooth borers perform better in windy conditions. Whether, you know, even if if you're saying, well, reset the fire, transitional attack or not, there's oftentimes we have to operate our hose streams from the exterior. Smoothbore nozzles do better in high wind conditions. It's pretty simple and straightforward on that. The resisting of clogs, we learned this through standpipe operations, that we had to go to a smoothbore line when we're working off standpipes. But even if we're working in a situation where we're drafting out of a pond or a creek, or even sometimes municipal water supplies, we get rocks and various gravel that will make it through the pump and into the line. That's just going to pass right through a smooth bore where it could clog and affect the stream in a negative way on a fog nozzle.
A clog that has permanently obstructed our nozzle. This is going to demonstrate the importance of using a break-apart nozzle to where we can remove that, utilize the integrated smoothbore tip to pass the debris and maintain an effective firefighting stream. I'm going to load our hose with the almonds to demonstrate that hard clog. We'll charge it up, and you'll observe it hitting the nozzle, obstructing the line to the point where he'll have to shut down and break apart. Charge the line.
The other thing is lessened air entrainment. This comes back to the kind of the newer science, the UL and NIST things that were coming out. Even if you bump that nozzle out of adjustment just a bit, it makes a big difference on the amount of air that's being entrained. I don't have to worry about that when I use the smoothbore line. If I open that nozzle all the way, I've got the tightest stream that can be produced.
And we'll see that. I mean, in the video, it's both the external, the reset the fire, the transitional attack, and the internal. You'll see how little disruption of the environment there is, and it just, if there's less air entrainment, then more of that energy is being directly contributed to cooling. As we entrain air into that environment, we are accelerating fire growth, so we don't quite have that 100% gain that we do with just direct water application. You'll see it in the videos. The solid bore is essentially a laser pointer at the target.
All right, so that's the end of part one. Hopefully that's at least information to get your curiosity up so you'll watch the others, and hopefully you did get some good information from this video. I do want to make sure as I'm concluding this first part that you don't misunderstand what I'm trying to communicate through this series. I don't want you to think that I'm anti-fog nozzle. That's not true. I just prefer a smoothbore nozzle. I also don't want you to think that I'm telling you that you can no longer use your fog nozzle, because that isn't true. You can still use the tool or the nozzle that you want to use on a structure fire. But if you do use a fog nozzle, you're going to have to make sure that you're maintaining good discipline on that nozzle and keeping it at the straight stream setting. And you know, because if it gets bumped out at all, you know, the reasons that we already talked about, it could cause an adverse effect. Finally, what I want to address is the pride and ownership aspect of this. I realize some of you may see that as I'm coming out and saying that I want a specific type of nozzle on a specific location on the rig, that could be viewed as an encroachment into, you know, basically getting into your wheelhouse, so to speak. And I appreciate that you care and try to set up your rig and set yourself up for success. But what I want to challenge you in that is with this. Our success is based off the success of the team. And because people working cross shift and across district, it's not always going to be you and your crew that's going to be pulling those lines. In fact, there's a very good chance it's going to be somebody outside of your crew that's pulling at least one of those pre-connects off. So we wanted to make sure that when people know whatever rig they show up to, that number one is going to be a smoothbore nozzle, and that the 2.5-inch crosslay, it's also going to be a smoothbore nozzle. The rest of them are going to have a fog nozzle on there. So anyway, I hope that eases some tensions, and I look forward to talking to you more in the next series.